Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I honestly thought we could just have a nice little discussion together. Even though I'm the only one talking to the camera by myself, I'd love to have a discussion in the comments, and we're going to talk about our dream cameras, the perfect camera that we want in our lives. I believe there is no camera out there just yet that is the perfect camera. The camera that has it all, can do everything. For me, I'm a videographer, so I need video features. So in this video specifically, I'm going to talk about my dream camera in a perfect world, but also a realistic world. I'm a Lumix user, I have the GH5S, and I have not stepped into the full frame market just yet. So I'm manifesting and I'm putting it out into the world, and I feel like it's going to happen quite soon. I feel like Lumix is going to drop the S1H Mark II. They just dropped the S1R Mark II, which, you know, had all of its internet dramas about the rolling shutter performance and whatnot and those limitations. But again, that's not really a video centric camera. That is a photo hybrid camera with insane video specs. The S1H has not got its successor yet, and I feel like it's got to be coming soon, or at least it might not be a Mark II of that camera, but I feel like Lumix needs to drop a full video camera with video focused features. Anyways, so I thought we all could just chill together, lie in bed. Let's get cozy. Let's get under the blankets and let's all talk about our dream cameras. I'm going to go through, I guess, some main features that I want, and I would love for you guys to comment below, I guess, what your dream cameras are. Or maybe there's a camera really close to it, except you just need these couple other features or not these limitations, and boom, that's your dream camera. I mean, a lot of cameras out there are nearly there for me, really nearly there. I haven't used them, but seeing the spec sheet and the reviews, they're nearly there, and honestly, I would spend the money, because I am looking to upgrade soon to full frame. I've got to be honest. I have the Lumix GH5S, which I'm recording on now. I absolutely love it, no doubt about that, but I am honestly looking to take the next step, go full frame, honestly maxed out video features for my work. I just want the best. I want to be the most efficient when recording, run and gun stuff. I know it's going to be good for filmmaking scenarios and all the above for anything video related. We're going to start off the build of the camera with a 3x2 full frame sensor. Let's say 20 megapixels to 30 megapixels, that sort of range, so we can get also great low light performance. I think it's a given that this camera would need 4K 120 uncropped 10-bit 422. It just needs that at the max level, no limitations for that 4K slow-mo. In addition to that, I would absolutely need open gate features, something like 6K 60 frames a second uncropped. That would be sublime. I don't really care about having 8K resolution. Like, I feel like you just don't need that. I mean, obviously you may need that for depending on the projects you're filming and whatnot, but personally for me, this is my camera. I don't need 8K. Now, I don't know how this, whatever camera brand would build this into the camera body, but somehow have internal ND filters. That would be really cool. I'm happy with obviously using screw-on NDs on top of the lens, but I think it would just be a very cool and outstanding feature for a camera to have that. That is sort of still in like a hybrid body design compared to a cinema camera body design or a box design that usually have internal NDs built in because they're cinema cameras. It might be a bit of a chunky hybrid body, but I think if someone's somehow built that into this camera, that would be just crazy. Now, sort of relating to that topic about the build of the camera and the body and the design, I think I would like it to be sort of like an FX3 type of body. It's sort of like a box rectangle type thing, but still having, you know, the ergonomics of a hybrid style mirrorless camera. I don't need an EVF on the camera. I don't need to take photos through an EVF. I don't even really take photos that much. If I wanted a photography camera, I would, you know, get literally any other hybrid mirrorless camera. So I think keeping this sort of a very video centric camera, kick out the EVF like their FX3 did and their FX30. I think you just have a really simple body that can be easily built out for whatever you need, but is also quite ergonomic in the hand, because I like shooting handheld, doing on the run and gun and just getting shots as quick and as best as I can. And speaking of that, that means I need good IBIS in the camera. And IBIS, if you don't know what IBIS is, it is in-body image stabilization. So if I'm shooting handheld, that shit is going to be stable. And I really like the feature that Lumix put in their recent camera, the S1R2, where it's a cropless e-stabilization mode. So it doesn't actually crop in on your video, but it still gives you e-stabilization. So that is really cool. I think it's safe to say it needs the best autofocus on the market, phase detect, Sony level. That just makes life a lot easier. You know, someone like me, I've got a GH5S. I don't use autofocus at all. I can't because it's just that bad. But using the FX3 recently, it's opened my world, and I can't go back. And that was honestly a game changer. I've never had those capabilities before, so it's quite hard to step back to manual focus pulling. Obviously, there's always a world for manual focus and specific shots, especially in a filmmaking environment. But when I'm doing run and gun videography work, I don't want to have to pull focus when I'm managing so many other things. So yeah, the camera definitely needs the best autofocus system that is out there on the market. Now, a video camera, it's got to have good low light performance, good dynamic range, all that jazz. So let's give this camera dual native ISO. I've heard of triple native ISO being a thing. I've never heard that in my life. So that could be I'm not going to go there because I'm trying to low-key build a realistic, perfect camera. But yeah, so we'll go dual native ISO, something like the similar capabilities that an FX3 has with their low light performance. And obviously, this camera has to have absolutely perfect rolling shutter, because rolling shutter is the most important thing in a camera. Let's all remember that. Another thing that would be pretty essential with the body of this camera and the ergonomics is the tilt flip screen that can tilt up and also flip out, which they did on the S1R Mark II, the GH7. What else did they do it on? The GH6? Yeah. I think that type of flip screen has to literally be standard with any camera, because sometimes I don't want to flip my screen out if I'm behind the camera. I just want to tilt it up because it's like I'm shooting down here, you know, and I just want to like look down on it. So the tilt is great, but you also need the flip out if you're filming yourself, or, you know, it's just absolutely handy to obviously have the full flip out screen. So that's a must. That has to come standard, absolutely standard with this dream camera that I'm building. Now, in terms of the I/O ports, I need HDMI, USB-C, possibly 2 USB-Cs, one for power delivery and one for recording to an SSD, so we can do that simultaneously. For recording internally into the camera, I think it needs to have 4 card slots, 2 of them SD cards, and the other 2 are CF cards, so we can record internally basically whatever we want. Now, I don't want to get too deep into the nitty gritty side of the camera menu system and how that all functions. I just want a simple, effective menu system that is easy to find things. I feel like everyone wants that, obviously, but I would need to be able to set my own, you know, quick setup menu or a quick menu, all that stuff, custom buttons as well. And with that, I think the camera obviously needs to have, you know, all the video assist features that any other cinema camera or monitor would have. So mainly that's false color on top of everything else, like your histogram, zebras, whatever. But I think having false color built into the camera itself and not having to use an external monitor, I feel like that's pretty valuable. So I think rounding this all up, realistically, for the price of this full frame video camera, it does depend on who makes this, whether it's Sony, Canon, or Lumix. I would love for Lumix to make this camera, because I'm a Lumix fanboy. All honesty about that, I can't lie. But if Sony makes this camera, maybe it's like the FX3 Mark II or the successor to the FX3, then mate, I'm switching boats straight away. So the price, I don't know, it's hard to say with a camera like this. I'm going to be talking in Australian dollars here. God, it's hard because the FX3 is like 6 grand. But if Lumix makes this camera, it could honestly be 5 grand or like 4.5 grand. Okay, 4.5 grand might be a stretch. I'd say 5 grand max if Lumix makes the camera, because they need to compete with the market, so they need to price their cameras just a tad lower than their competitors, right? But if Sony makes this camera, I think realistically it would be around 6,000 Australian dollars. So I'm gonna say 5 to 6 grand. I would get this camera. Would I? I don't know. That's a lot of money, I know. But I'm going to be using this camera for like the rest of my life. Why would I need any other camera? You know? As long as it has like a few years of updates, like let's say like 5 years of guaranteed software updates for the camera. Like I don't even know how much more like fixes or improvements you can make to the software if the camera is already that good, but let's just give that sort of round number just in case there's a couple things they need to improve. I don't know. So yeah, I think I've covered everything that I need to cover for a camera. I mean, it basically needs to be an FX3 with open gate recording and like open gate 60 frames, you know, and 6K. But even then, I'd be happy with 4K open gate 60 frames or something, or 5.7K, you know, something like that. If Sony put out that, I'd be, like I said, I'd be jumping ships and making my transfer across to Sony, you know, because at the end of the day, people have their camera brands they love, and I'm all for that, you know, love whatever camera brand. But in the position I'm in, I'm on a Micro Four Thirds Lumix camera that is about 7 years old, and I am ready to jump ship to the next best thing. I'm ready for it. I'm gonna make the purchase, and if something comes out this year that is what I want, because I'm saving up for it, I'm waiting for it to drop the perfect camera. I'm gonna buy that thing, and I'm gonna use it for like the rest of my life, or at least the next 10 years, you know. But with a camera like that, I'm using that for the rest of my life. But on another note, I would love to hear your guys' dream cameras and their features and their top specs or whatever in the comment section. I would love to discuss about it. What do you need in your dream camera? I mean, maybe you're a photographer, or maybe you want to be a hybrid shooter with both absolutely maxed out photo specs and maxed out video specs. I mean that would be insane if you got a camera like this dream camera, video camera I'm talking about, plus insane photo features. Then I mean, that would probably be like 20 grand. Everyone's going to have their own different ideas for their dream camera. Feel free to please, you know, comment below your dream camera and your perfect camera, your features that you absolutely need, your limitations, your pros and cons. I mean, hopefully there's no cons, so maybe just your pros. And yeah, I think we can all learn from each other and discuss in a meaningful manner. And that's all I got today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast in my bed. I quite enjoy this. I'm very cozy right now. I hope you guys are too. Have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video, whatever that may be. Rock on.